Bitcoin, XRP, Quant, XCN breaking out. This is NC Hammer Crypto. My name's Neil, where we keep technical analysis short and sweet. So I haven't gone over these in a minute out here in Croatia on vacation, but this is a quick update for everybody as we hit 100 subscribers recently. And we see that Bitcoin is breaking this downward trend line as we had predicted. We could move this a little bit more, but if this closes above 108 to 109, if this closes and holds, we may see a little consolidation as we see with these blue ghost candles right here, and then a push upwards. It is still possible to see a rejection and a false breakout here, which would push the rest of the cryptocurrency market downward. Looking at XRP, XRP is still in consolidation but building support well over the 200 EMA. It's pushing back over this upward trend line as well as this orange trend line. We could readjust this and say it's more like that upward, and we just need to hold above the black trend line here, and then eventually we'll start pushing up to the 2.33 and 2.6 area for XRP. But it's very nice consolidation. Definitely stack your bags for that one, as it will have a major pump by the end of the year. It's also not financial advice. Quant had that exact push down with a 618 retracement as it's posted right here. Hit that 618 retracement, tested off the downward trend line on both this orange and black trend line, held nicely above the 200 EMA. We expected it to retrace back up to the 0.618, which it did exactly. And I was saying that we may have a little rejection here as long as we're holding above this black trend line being around $97, $95 and above the 200 EMA. It's still looking very bullish. It could even be testing down here on this black trend line and hitting 75, but it would still be considered bullish as it would be building a consolidation and support. However, with Bitcoin pushing over 108, we can expect to see Quant start pushing back up to that 123, 124 range and beyond, the next step being around $167. And if it breaks that $167, the next stop would be roughly 226. So if you had $100, within a little while you have 226, well over double money on that. Moving over to XYO. XYO is still working on that downward trend line, downward channel, as we can see here. In between these two black lines, it would be nice to see it hold above this black upward trend line. However, we are in a very strong consolidation. It's building support here around the 0.0085, and we could see a push back up towards this black downward trend line being around 0.01 cents. But beyond that, it's got a long way to go. The 618 retracement on that is roughly 0.016, and with that push, if you were to enter here to the 618, that's around 76% increase if you were to buy in on XYO. Definitely not a bad bet to be looking at XYO. It is building a little bit of volume as we see it had that push up whenever it started hitting this upward trend line. It had that nice volume push up. We are low, a little bit oversold on the RSI, but we could start seeing that push upwards with the rest of the market if Bitcoin holds and closes. Moving over to Compound. Compound is getting very nice support on that black trend line, moving upwards, and a lot of high volume. Whenever you start seeing some major movements, you start seeing the volume pick up exponentially, and we had that major push up, which if this closes above this orange candle, we could consider that a bullish engulfing, and we could see it pushing back up towards this 200 EMA, testing this downward trend line, maybe get a little bit of rejection back into this red area, and then holding this black upward trend line as support and getting really tight and breaking this downward trend line for the third touch. And Compound also has a very long way to go. It's currently at $44.40, but if it pushes up to this high, that's around 216%. However, it does have a lot higher to increase. So you can see around 550 is its all-time high, It is currently $44, so definitely not a bad bet to invest in Compound. Definitely not financial advice, but Compound does have a tendency to move very quickly, as well as the volume is picking up exponentially. When this green bar right here gets above this red bar, we're going to start seeing some major bullish movement. The RSI is at the 50% mark, and so whenever this purple crosses over yellow, we could start again seeing more bullish movement towards this downward trend line. And as we've seen with the previous coins like Quant and quite a few others, when it breaks that major downtrend line as a push up, maybe a potential retouch to test it as support, and then taking off. So keep Compound on your radar. Moving over to Tornado, consolidating for months, volume picking up, holding that upward trend line, holding above the RSI or EMA 200. The RSI is right at the 50 mark. And it's already touched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times to this top black trend line. But if it touches that again, it's very weak, and we could see a break. And the all-time high on this is, I believe, like over 500, something like that. Well over 100 though, but we're at $9. So keep Tornado Cash. You can trade it on MEXC. Reference links in the link below for the lowest trading fee platform. Definitely appreciate it if you use that link. And Toshi, moving over to Toshi, it is building support just like we saw on Quant. It broke over that downward wedge trend line. It tested as support, and now we are getting that bullish formation. And we could see Toshi pushing well back up to 0.0009. And with that push, it doesn't seem like a lot, but that is around 113%. The next being the 618 retracement being 229%. All basing that off of Bitcoin, also throwing in BNT, DNT, and IOTX. BNT had that major push up. It's testing this downward trend line for the third time. If that breaks and holds, we could see a major push up as well. It is holding above the 200 EMA, which is nice. We could see some rejection. It could even potentially hit this downward trend line here, but it's debatable. If Bitcoin holds and closes above 109, we could see this easily be pushing up to around the 96 cents from currently 62 cents. DNT, something to keep in mind. Again, similar to Quant, when it breaks that downward trend line, we're probably going to see a nice long consolidation till it gets close and tight with the 200 EMA. It's oversold on the RSI on the daily. But with that push over the 200 EMA, which can take some time, even though Bitcoin is doing a pump over the 109, the next stop would be around 105% increase, but that's just the beginning for DNT. As you see, it has a very high all-time high of 25 cents from 2 cents. That's a lot of X's for your profit if you were to buy some DNT once it breaks this downward trend line. Also not financial advice. And then the last one, IOTX. IOTX, not looking the best, but it is trying to push back up over this upward trend line. If we do see that happen, the next stop, we would want to see it push over the 200 EMA. It is oversold in the RSI, but once it gets over that 200 EMA, it has a long way to go from there, up 145%. And if it breaks that black downward trend line, it's also got a very long way to go to hit its all-time high, around 50 cents. So those are the ones to keep in mind. That's it for today. Good luck and have fun with it.